There he is, Paul Danner.
Hey there.
I was trying to beat you in.
No, I was here first, but trying to figure out if there's a way I can use my earbuds over my instead of my speaker here, but I am not so sure.
I have the same problem. I haven't been able to figure that out.
Give me a minute here. I'm going to fix something. Um, you still hear me?
Yep, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we will see what happens here. Let's see. I want a browsing window. All right. Oh, you?
Are you still hearing that echo?
Are you hearing an echo?
Yeah, something's different about. Usually, I have
Do you hear this?
full screen.
No.
It,
Um, I'm assuming that I don't have control of the screen, but
yeah, I see my little green icon up in the part of the screen.
I
Let's see if
have a.
I can figure out how to.
Oh, I hear that echoing back.
Let's see. I was hoping I just hit a button up here to. But the important thing is, do you see you and me as the participants?
Bringing up participants, I have me, I have you as host, and I have you as a participant.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of that me as a participant. Let's see. Hide non-video. Add pin. I think we're getting the echo because I'm on there as a participant.
Mhm.
Isn't it? I don't think we've had a single unit or get together when something wasn't working right.
Hi, Janice.
Also known as Stash.
Okay. Um,
And I see Dave Ramsay is coming on.
okay, that's good. I was afraid that was Dave Rakowitz was one of my contacts, but
And there's Dick Galant.
hey, Bill, try this. Click on you as a participant and see if you have an option to mute me and see if that hurts or not.
All I've got is unmute.
Okay. Who was that? Who said that?
Okay, we've got Stash's wife. I can't figure it. You know what? I'm going to stop and just go back and start everything again, see if it'll clear up. Okay. Let's see.
Right. So I need to turn on the
Well,
speaker.
Well, yeah. We're not on.
okay. Well, I logged into the room before anybody else.
No, it's on.
Okay, everybody just hang on while I try to disconnect myself from this. Let's see. Record settings. I can't figure out.
Might it be the problem we had last time? I don't know.
Before I log out of here, is everybody hearing an echo?
No, I'm not.
I do periodically.
Okay, I'm gonna try and see if I can get out of here.
So try
Get my phone, quick.
your phone.
Quick.
Well, it seemed to work. I don't know how I did it.
All right. Well, my screen shows you as host, and your mic is crossed out, and your camera is crossed out. Now I see you, but maybe I am.
I don't know. Maybe we
also
don't have this. I don't know.
I also see
not near
see
the
you
Zoom.
with an open mic and a camera. So I'm guessing I don't see you as host. I'm guessing I see the connection, but it is not a. The mic is dead, and the camera says the camera's dead, but I don't know what that means.
I swear. I
can do that too, but it won't do any good.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
There's
let's
a
see.
button down here that says end.
I
I'm
saw
gonna
Paul
hit that
Banner,
button and
Bill Yagerlener.
okay, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
I'm gonna try and get out of here.
You know this isn't in your.
I hope I don't
I know.
screw everything up for everybody.
Where's Stash?
Are you here? I'm going to. remove myself and try and start over. Okay,
That's Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
Okay. Do
Paul.
you hear me? Yeah. Hi. Do you hear me now, Bill?
yes.
Okay.
And I
I'm
don't.
connected. I'm just connected to you on one line, not on two. So maybe
Oh,
that fixed something.
okay.
Yeah, we lost Bill.
Now, there's a green
Yeah, we got
diagonal thing. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's Bill's picture. That's
That's
Yagerlener's picture.
my sort of picture.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. I will try to get that one out and then rejoin. How does
Oh.
that sound?
Can you
Okay.
turn your camera on? Your camera is off in the chat box.
Okay.
And everyone else's camera is on.
We
And
lost
I don't know how to
Stas.
control this.
We lost Stas.
Galant.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try and get out of here and start over. Stick with me for a while here,
Sure.
unless you can get along without seeing my face.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Well, anyway, if you want to make a note of anything, here's paper.
Okay, sure.
There are several pencils,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
eraser,
That's very thoughtful.
and even the planner.
Great, right.
Okay. So hopefully it's going to work out. And if they can't hear you, there might be somewhere that we can do something, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, this is the best we can do. Is
You're fine, Mike. Mike, you're fine.
Good, wonderful.
Can you hear?
Yes,
yeah,
I can hear both of you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Adios.
Dick and see through. Yeah.
Okay, the participants that I see in my chat box are myself, Bill, Dave Ramsay, iPad, Mike, and Richard Galant.
Mm-hmm.
Stas came back on,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't have a picture.
No.
Stas,
Okay, there we go.
there you are. Stas is there.
Yep.
What?
Okay, let me see if I can get you, everybody.
Okay, can you turn off the above, please? Well, I can't hear any. I'm not hearing them. Janice?
We aren't speaking.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
Meditation. Didn't you hear?
the what?
Said meditation time. Never mind.
Okay. Well, we couldn't get it on the PC.
Okay.
We couldn't get any voice.
Oh, really?
Are
Okay.
you back
Yeah.
there seeing me waving?
Yeah,
Here you
I
are.
can see Bill.
He appeared.
Okay. I see Paul, Dave Ramsay, Dick Galant, Mike Murphy, Stas, and Jim Marfia.
One more.
And one more. There's me still in there with a green icon. Do you guys see that or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
Round half dozen. Howdy, Paul.
Good afternoon.
Something close to that, anyway.
Well, it's our usual state of affairs.
Huh.
Move
Mhm,
myself.
Bill.
Okay. Let's see if I can shut this off down here.
Oh, there's another one.
I can't seem to get rid of my icon in there.
Gary Cohn.
And on mine, I still hear this terrible echo.
I do hear the echo periodically.
All right, well,
Unfortunately, I have no grandkids to help me with it.
right. That's,
They know what they're doing.
Well, my son is in Virginia, but
Ah,
he's probably
Oh,
doing
yeah.
something else.
ring him up.
I'm checking to see where he's at. Hang on. See if
I
he's
see
home
a
or not.
button at the top that says Stay Participant. I'm going to click on that, I think. Hello.
Hello.
All right, the green arrow stuff is still showing up on my screen.
Oh, that one.
Yep.
What does that mean? Light up, you.
What does what
Oh,
mean?
well. I'll just ignore it for now. It's not talking to me, so what the hell?
Well, we started out on the wrong foot, and I guess we'll just have to, as long as you guys can hear without problems and you can see.
Works for me.
Sure.
All right. It is what it is.
That's right.
It's good.
Realized
There we go.
we're
Well,
coming
think
for
back to when we
class
just
of
had
66.
sound and no pictures.
For the class of 66, we're at the 60th anniversary.
That's us.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're the 66. Okay, you'll have to call me
The
back.
college
That's our
class of
graduation.
66.
Okay. Take your word for it.
And this is what we look like 60 years later.
I
Still fumbling around, trying to get things straight in the world.
gotta tell you one thing, it sure helps to have the beard. Covers up a lot of things.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Mike Murphy, this is the first time in a long time that I've actually seen your whole face.
There you are.
Well, it's not any better.
You used to only see his eyes?
You've been at the
Yeah.
bottom of the screen, and
Oh,
or
that's
your
all right.
voice was there, but your picture wasn't.
Yeah. She helped me get this all on. She's good at that stuff. So,
All right.
mhm.
Well, I see you. I don't see her.
Oh, Mike.
And I don't recognize Jim Marfia with a beard.
It's been a long time since I signed up. I think I signed up somewhere before Dennis Morrow passed. So that's years ago.
Oh,
But I had the beard then. Haha.
I didn't see it then either, but
Oh,
my eyes are better now than they were then.
cool.
good for you.
My cataracts are gone,
Oh, okay.
That's
and
wonderful.
I don't know that made any difference.
Worked for me too.
But I do
Yeah,
need.
these readers, but you know what the hell.
I can't see up close, but
I keep a
but
pair
I
of them all
have
over the house.
I have progressive lenses now, and
Oh, okay, okay.
we'll see if anything changes later this week. I think I have a follow-up appointment with the I don't know what you call her, the non ophthalmology physician in the
Oh,
practice.
okay.
Hmm.
You ever figure out what his or her specialty is?
Uh, she is it's on her business card. I don't remember what it is, but uh, and it may simply be a doctor of medicine. I'm not sure.
Or what that is? Oh well.
Did they do the operation
Hmm.
in the office area, Paul?
For me,
Yes.
uh, actually, in Kalamazoo, no, we have two hospitals. We have
Bronson.
Borges, which
I
now is
know
part
what.
of
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of one of the biggies. And when I come up with it, I'll tell you. And the other is Bronson, which is affiliated with somebody else.
I think McLaren,
No,
Trinity.
Corwell is the only other one. Corwell,
oh,
Henry
there are a
Ford.
couple others. Um, uh, give
Anyway.
me time on that. But
But I
but
mean,
coming back,
it was not in the office. That's all I wanted to know.
no. Where I was going is that both hospitals have set up a surgical center,
Mhm.
and they do all of their uh, they do most of their eye surgeries in the surgical center.
Cool.
That's where they do uh, a bunch of other stuff. Um, and I can't think of what all it is that they do there. Sue and I have different ophthalmologists in different practices. Uh, I have a little bit older guy who's still younger than we are, but and she has kind of a baby ophthalmologist who's been practicing for 5 years, 10 years, something like that. That he's a great guy. She really likes him, and he's good. Uh, so both these men use the surgical center for their uh, uh, their eye surgeries, uh, and and the center is doing eye surgeries. They're doing uh, I think they do some various gynecological things for women.
Mhm.
I think they do uh, you know minor uh, surgical stuff on men. I just I can't think of all these specialties because I used to know the terminology, and I have when I go out with my mind to figure out what to say, the word escapes me.
Well,
I
here
know
in
the
Ann
concept.
Arbor, I had
But,
cataract surgery about within the last 2 years,
Cool.
and they have like it's St. Joe's. It's a Sisters of Mercy,
hmm?
and it's Trinity Health. Anyway,
Okay.
they have like a
Those are real.
special. It's not real big, but it's a special area. Now they did
Mhm.
I had my surgery right in the office, basically. And
Oh,
I can still see the guy taking whatever he did, and he's pointing it into my eye. And that's about the last thing I remember because they kind of knock you out And it wasn't a, I don't know how long it took, but it wasn't a real invasive surgery.
No.
And then they had to make sure that the tissues would adhere. So, like you're saying, you have to go back. That's what they're checking on.
Yeah.
And then, no, I do have the glasses, and like you, I have the, read and that with that. But I can see quite well without them
Yeah.
since I've had the surgery.
hmm So now, probably most of us who've had cataract surgery, I'm assuming that all of our implants have a prism in them. I may be wrong about that, but I think they all use prisms, which focus to your adaptive distance based on the way your eye work, and the prescription for that prism is individualized based on your needs. So I think that Sue and I have different prisms because our natural vision is different.
No, you're very correct on that. And I remember I asked the nurse if I could see what they did. And she showed me, and they had these real small white, they're solid white. And they must be formed, like you're saying, to your natural, how nature took care of your cataracts or whatever. I was stunned at how small they were.
That's your lens you're talking about.
Right. Yep. Yep. But I mean, it was unbelievable how small they are and how effective too.
I think I had mine done maybe 5 years ago, but they did the one and then they did the other, and yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
The only problem I have, I can use the readers, but I have to take them off when I'm looking farther away. But I have to have them when I'm reading close-up print.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the same as it is for everybody else, but
well, it's kind of what you're talking about. I kind of have that in a way.
okay.
I mean, there is a compensation of kind of reading closely. What's real close to you.
The and your lenses can be adjusted so that you have excellent near vision through one eye and excellent general vision through the other.
Mm-hmm.
And if your eyes are set up that way, I assume that you automatically select which one you want to concentrate on for your vision. So, you merge it in your head, and that's the way it works. Now, I may be a little bit vague on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's the general concept of what they're doing. Now, and I want to discuss the anesthesia that they use in this surgical center, depending on how far under you need to be. At least for the eye surgeries, the anesthesia is administered through a port they put in your hand, and the anesthesiologist starts taking you down, and assuming it's a he, I think for both of us it was, and they keep your level of consciousness just like you're asleep, but barely asleep. So they can talk to you, and you'll respond and that kind of thing. Or if you don't, they'll wait a couple minutes, and as the anesthesia is wearing off on that, they won't resupply it quite as quickly. But the anesthesiologist is walking around the area that he's working. He has the anesthesia in a syringe, and he plugs that in through the port on your hand to add anesthesia if that's what you need.
But the bottom line is, Paul, that the end result is that you and your wife can see eye to eye, right?
Something like that.
But can I bore you? I thought you might be interested in this. This is a little bit of a story, but it's very true. I had I'll use the word, I was really lucky. I spent 3 months in Italy. I was in northern Italy, about 50 miles north of Venice, at the foothills of the Dolomite Alps. I lived in a village, and I was teaching there, and I was teaching Air Force personnel. So it gave me some chances to kind of see a little bit of the country, of Italy. And one of the things that was interesting to me, this is really true, and I had no guide or any book or anything. I didn't realize that Padua, where we have St. Anthony of Padua, Italy, is only about, 14 miles or so, maybe less, from there to Venice. And apparently the real rich Venetians and the what do you call it, the on the weekends or whatever, they would take their gondolas and they would go there and have a beer or whatever they did.
Party.
Yeah, right. Well, when you get into the town, first of all, I went into the church, St. Anthony's of Padua, and I never saw so many gaudy things in my life. I don't know if you go to an Italian church, they have about 300 side altars, and they had all kinds of, different decorations and that. And right outside of it was and leading up to something, was like a pool, P-O-L, with water in it. And it's remember, it's close to this channel. And water is key to what I'm going to tell you a little bit later. And it had statues around it. It was pretty good size. Of the famous people that came from Padua. And it turned out that right next to it was where the universities, and this is I'm looking at stuff that was like the 16th century now, when just the start of the universities in Western Europe, and that's important. And there was like a building in that was called Bo, B-O. And it was called that because it was used as a meat market. And if you recall your Latin, Paul, what's the Latin word for cow? C-O-W.
I forget. What's that?
Boss.
Boss. Okay.
And the reason is that in the nickname of that's the word for cow, bovine. You get bovine. And that was the nickname of the college, Bo. Not Bo Schembeck,
all right.
Bo. And so I got into this building. This is incredible. There was no one around. I was just walking. It was a nice day and that. And I walked into this kind of reception room. It wasn't real big. And it had a painting of the battle that was fought there between the Italians and the Germans this area is in kind of close to the Alps and everything. And there's a lot of Germans there, surprisingly, because it abuts Austria, and this is all Alps in Germany and Switzerland. Keep this in mind. So there was a famous battle, like 1840s or something like that, fought there, and the poem was written about it, and they came up with the phrase "the blood flowed like magenta," and it was like that was the scene of the battle. It was painted on the walls, not real big. I got into a room that was the size of about a high school gym with no stands, except around it, circled, were all these chairs. And they were chairs like the bishop has, and they had that kind of chairs. They're all wooden. And then they'd have on the top of them, they had their logo for their family. Mm-hmm. And the leaders, they were called signori, I guess. They're the ones that were like the trustees. And I'm walking through this, like I said, there's no one there. I was just stunned. So they had a second floor. I go up to the second floor, and I'm kind of get in, like a little hallway in that. And I look back, and there's this pile of wooden things that were a lectern, which supposedly was Galileo's.
All right.
And then I walked into a little room, and getting closer to where I'm going now. And in this room was where it was had a table and some chairs. Now remember, this is probably where they held their oral exams.
Okay.
Because there was a door, and I went into the door, and this is where I'm leading up to. And it was, what I saw was this. First of all, it was a little bit of an amphitheater type of kind of corrals, where the students stood and watched, and there was a table, about the size, maybe 5 feet or so, just a square table. And the students would stand up and look down. In other words, the instructor's kind of looking up. And next to it was in that room was a furnace. I'm on the second floor. And that's where they did the dissections. And that they were on a slab. But the slab had a little door. It could flip. Since at that time, remember, this is like 1500s, the Catholic Church didn't allow them to do that as far as do the body. I mean, if you recall, like in the Italians then, what they would do is, like, a lot of their churches would be like a little bit on a platform, and they put the bodies underneath the church. And that's how they would get them, perhaps. Anyways, the church did not allow them to dissect. They couldn't do anything to desecrate the body, in quotes. And they remember I told you this was on the second floor. And what's the other thing, as a clue at the beginning, was water. And so what they would do is they'd have somebody on the lookout, and if they saw somebody from the church or whatever that would they would give a signal, like a whistle or something, and they'd take the body and they'd flip it, and it'd fall into the sewer where the water was, and on top of that was a cat. So if they came in, they'd see the cat. Now, if they completed the surgery or the dissection, they would burn the body. Remember, I told you that they had a furnace there, and they burn it right there. Now, no one was there to tell me all this, but I don't know how I learned it, but it was unbelievable how efficient that was. And it wasn't a very exceptionally big room.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you saw how they always have those. Used to be where they'd have all those films on doctors' movies, and you see the students watching the surgery, and they'd be in a room and they'd all. That's where they got that idea to do that amphitheater, and then everybody would stand. And the people that were heavier, there was a little wider space for them to get
Mm-hmm.
into the room, and we just stand there they could hold probably, I don't know, maybe 12 or so in the room besides the instructor. That was amazing to me.
Uh-huh. How many of you have been to Italy and or Rome?
Here.
I'm back.
Okay. Where was I going? I don't remember.
We're going to Italy.
It'll come. It'll come.
Happens to
Well,
all of us.
there's no, as Dick explains this,
No.
I think of all kinds of things that I have seen around and about. My Italian, I've been to Rome, I think maybe twice, maybe I'm forgetting a third time. My daughter studied for a year in Rome at she lived in a convent, but as a student with a whole bunch of other students, male and female, in this convent on the top of one of the mountains. And actually, I think it was on the same, I say mountain, the same hill that the Vatican is on. And and she was studying with Jesuits.
Yeah, they are.
Jesuits ran the school.
Now you think of
And that's not the only place that Jesuits were at in Rome. So she still has connections with a bunch of these people. One of her favorite instructors was, I forget his name, but he was like a ranking person in the Jesuit system, and he spent time in the States here. One of her other instructors, yeah.
Who said Paul?
Oh, I thought somebody asked me something.
Yeah, I thought.
By the by, the conglomerate that has absorbed the Borges health system is Beacon Health.
Oh, okay.
And what I've experienced with them, they're pretty good. They're focused on medicine, and they're focused on service.
They got to be pretty good. I mean, you're still here.
Well, my cardiology practice is one of the top notch in the country, I think.
Cool.
I was fortunate that that was where my DO sent me for a stress test.
Okay.
And that's, I took the stress test, and as we were getting to the end of it, I said, can I sit down? I think I'm going to pass out. And then I passed out.
Oh,
Once-
And, and I came to about, less than a minute, I think. And the lady who was operating the machine that was taking the reading said, "Well, you're not going to work today." Yeah, she was wrong.
Yeah.
But the cardiology practice that handled the test that I took is I forget the names of these people, but they had some very high-powered cardiologists who were developing the arterial implants that were opening up your arteries so that restoring blood flow, as opposed to doing other stuff that as opposed to necessarily putting in a pacemaker or something else. And by the way, my pacemaker has about 2 months left on it. Maybe 6 months, but we're at a point now that for the last half year, I've been I go into the office every other month, and we hook up. Well, we put the machine over the pacemaker and take the readings of how it's performing and inquiring how
You're
it.
not talking about the batteries, are you?
I am talking about
You're talking about
the batteries.
pacemaker itself,
The
right?
batteries are part of it.
Oh, okay.
But so
But you're saying a couple months left?
well, before the batteries have to be replaced.
Oh, okay.
It's been that way. No, it's been that way for 6 months, a year, something like that. This is I'm wearing out my third pacemaker, and this one has lasted much longer than either of the other two, because the technology has improved.
Yeah.
They use less voltage, a bunch of stuff like that.
The hearing aids, they just get better.
Yes. So now there are three basic types of pacemakers. Mine is a dual chambered pacemaker. It is external. I say it's external. It's under the skin on my chest, and the wires feed in through. Actually, I think it's through veins up into the heart, and are screwed into the heart tissue in the two chambers that they're going into. And so the pacemaker itself monitors the pacing of your heart based on contractions and so forth. And if and it also monitors the frequency of pacing that the pacemaker provides, and it will adjust that if it needs to be higher, it will respond accordingly. And it can be adjusted up and down so that, when I go in to have this reading done, that's what they are looking at, and they can adjust it as would be indicated based on the prescriptions that the cardiologist has provided. And that's the way it is. Now, there also is a single chambered pacemaker, which it's the same thing, but it just has one lead going in. And I think that generally is implanted in the left ventricle. If your heart is healthier, that's sufficient to maintain adequate pacing. And then separate from all that, the state-of-the-art pacemakers that are being used now are about that big, maybe smaller. They are self-contained. They communicate by some kind of radio frequency or the medical people. We have all different kinds of ways of communicating anymore now. And so I have a friend who had a pacemaker implant, maybe a month ago. And, they went through his groin. And I think he has two pacemakers. I think he has one in one chamber and one in the other. They're programmed independently, and they're not connected. Because you don't have to hook stuff up with wiring anymore if you've got radio waves and that type of thing. So it keeps getting more amazed.
21st century, Paul.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Can I tell another story about Italy here?
Yeah.
I don't know, was Mike Donnelly in your class?
Was he?
He was in the high school class of 66.
But I mean, okay. But he was when you're in your grade, or your year. Let me put it that way, right?
2 years behind us.
Mike Donnelly.
2 years, like Paul was saying, 2 years behind us.
He was 2 years? Okay. Well, anyways, he had a brother, Pat.
Like my cousin Frank.
He had a brother, Pat. And Pat was a year ahead of me. He was kind of a real wild guy in a little bit. But anyways, Mike is from Holland, Michigan. And the Donnellys, and the Augustinian seminary, the minor seminary, is close to that town in Holland.
In Saugatuck.
Lake Michigan.
That's in Saugatuck.
It's in Saugatuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Or just north of Saugatuck.
Okay, yeah. So it's between Holland and Saugatuck a little bit. Anyways, it turns out that the Pope went to the minor seminary there.
For 4 years.
Yes. And the Spanish teacher, the woman who's taught him Spanish, she eventually married Mike's brother, Pat. But throughout the time, remember now the Pope went to Peru and then he's in Rome, right? But he always maintained kept in touch with her.
Yep.
So throughout, kind of like his Spanish consultant or whatever. So that there's a connection between St. Joe's in a sense and the Pope, the current Pope.
Yep.
So, let me tell you one other story that was interesting. This is about Italy too, but it's a little different. I did have the opportunity to get to Milan, and I was only there for maybe a couple days, unfortunately, but I wanted to see the painting, The Last Supper. That's where it's at. And what I learned was there was like, when you go to Italy, if you've not been there, there's no like signs or anything really to tell you what the heck's going on and find all this stuff.
They'd be an Italian anyway.
And anyways, it was in a church, but it was actually in a refectory for the nuns, which I didn't know. And during the Second World War, that area was bombed, but the picture did not, the painting, I'll put it that way, did not get, that didn't get bombed, that thing. But when I got there, I kind of went around and then I found it. And it's in a room that's about the size of maybe a one-stall garage.
Okay.
It's got a cement floor on one side. It's all enclosed. It's just a room. Is the picture of the Last Supper. Remember, it was painted into it's a fresco.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side is a kind of a larger picture of like the countryside in Lombardy with a lot of people and stuff like that. That's all there is in the room. There's no explanation, nothing. Which I was stunned at. I mean, my whole life when I got there, you're in third grade or whatever, and they tell you about this painting, and I wasn't disappointed, but it was like, wow, it's not in any real famous museum or anything like that.
My den is bigger than that.
Say again?
My den would be bigger than that.
Probably would be. But I mean, I was just stunned at the humbleness of the painting and how it was presented. There was no one in the room to explain it or anything. Just, like walked in, there it is. There, okay, good. Have a good day.
Glass or nothing?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My wife and I learned something interesting about the Last Supper today. A little back up, about a month ago, there was an exhibit at the Henry Ford in Dearborn that included an exhibit on Da Vinci. And they had a reproduction of the Last Supper, which was really kind of interesting. And so today, my wife follows on video conferences on like Zoom on travel logs. And today was the topic was again somebody from Italy, and they were focusing on the Last Supper. And the thing that we found out was the guide said there are several paintings or frescoes called the Last Supper all over Italy. It's not like all that unusual to have a Last Supper in your town. We thought that was remarkable. It's kind of like, like you were saying, Dick, we've grown up with this notion that there's only one Last Supper, when in fact there are several of them. And the guide was talking, like you were saying, during the war, a lot of these frescoes all over the place were saved from being wiped out by packing sandbags in front of them
Huh.
during all of the struggles and the fights and the bombs and stuff like that. And it was like, after things had quieted down, that they kind of uncovered a lot of these uh, things like, frescoes and things like that. So we thought that was remarkable because
Yeah.
it's like we had never heard that. We just assumed like most of the world that there's only one Last Supper.
Right. Well, I never knew that either. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, you have to keep in perspective that these Italians respected the bombastic power of the Germans and the Americans and the British. So they took precautions. They were smart.
I gotta sign off, guys. See you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Hey,
did
another
you-
thing that you're talking about, all this technology related to hearts and vision. A couple of years back, I got hearing aids. I don't know. Anybody else have hearing aids besides?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, both
My
ears.
wife does.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't know how many other people I know who have hearing aids. Submariners tend to have hearing aids.
well, the thing is, my insurance system would only cover like a basic thing and when I went, a year and a half ago, she said, your Health Alliance plan will cover, I forget exactly what it was, but for $300 more, without touching your health insurance, we can give you this version that's much updated and allows you to control the volume and a lot of other things through an app on your phone. And the problem initially for the first 6 or 8 months was I didn't have a phone that would work with these different apps. And so it was only about maybe
Well,
2
you
months
have to
ago.
get your iPhone.
Yeah, well, I did. I ended up getting a new phone.
It solved it, didn't it?
Right, it did. And now I can go in there and especially if I'm watching TV, I can shut out any kind of sounds behind me. I was just
Wow.
absolutely
Yeah.
Wow.
incredible.
So
yeah.
I've had an iPhone for quite a while. I think this is my second, but maybe not. Maybe it's my first. I've carried a phone, a portable phone for quite a while. No, my son is the big technology person. He's the guy who is the space scientist. He's the guy who programs stuff for satellites and
Wow.
and so on. And he worked for a company that that manufactured manufactured some of the systems that run the electronics, and so he was hired by them to work in their rocket assembly area or satellite assembly area in Redondo Beach, and he had his name signed into some of the paperwork on one of the satellites that was launched. It got into orbit, didn't stay there very long. So that was his claim to fame in that area. But and actually, the company he was working for was a subcontractor of a company that now is called Northrop Grumman, I think.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and so and after working in Redondo Beach for 2 or 3 years, they were looking for people to send to Australia and to send to England, to North Yorkshire, to communicate with the satellites that were going overhead, and to steer them, a bunch of stuff of that nature. And he got selected for that, which took him to North Yorkshire. And he spent 12 years over there, I think.
Jeez.
Met his wife, and the company, the subcontracting company that he worked for, he was their I think he was their 19th hire, and that was after he turned them down a bunch of times. They now have at least 200 engineers, and they do just all kinds of stuff for all kinds of stuff.
Who does he work for?
He's retired.
Well, who did he work for?
My memory, I know it. Trying to pull it out and tell you.
Well, Grumman, Northrop. The Grumman is in was in Long Island originally. I think right there.
I think Northrop and Grumman merged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I know one of them was.
Yeah.
It was in Long Island.
Yeah. But this company, I can't think of what they call themselves.
Where did he go to college?
Well, he went to Northwestern.
Oh, no wonder.
Got a degree in electrical engineering.
Jeez.
And from there, he went to California, and he was hired by TRW Aerospace.
Right.
TRW had an automotive division and an aerospace division, and I don't know what all that stuff is now. That TRW was acquired by the Northrops, I think.
So if he went to Northwestern, he was a pretty bright guy. He had to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So he's way brighter than I am.
It's pretty hard to do. I mean that sincerely.
And Sue and I are so fortunate so her career, she was a teacher consultant for visually impaired kids, working in the regional school systems. I can't think of what you call them, but the county resource programs, Stas, all the special ed type stuff and that kind of thing.
Right. Well, the school districts where in Kalamazoo or
the intermediate school districts.
Yeah, but I mean, was it the
So
in
she
Kalamazoo area?
she was employed by the Van Buren Intermediate
Okay, well,
School
Van
District.
Buren, then. Yeah, they
Yeah,
had,
yeah,
then she was a specialist that worked out of there to the different schools that they oversee or whatever they support.
right. And actually, the way it was structured with what she was doing was very specialized to kids who were blind or had vision issues, and and she addressed those needs and um, helped them develop uh, into some of them into fairly responsible adults. Some of them had impairments of a type that was it was a bigger struggle for them, and still is for some of them. Um, long story short, it goes in multiple directions. That's what got me into Braille repair. That she brought home a Perkins Braille writer and said, "Would you look at this? It doesn't work." And I took it apart and put it back together, and amazingly,
No wonder your son's so smart.
amazingly, when I put it back together, it worked better than when I took it apart.
I would hope so.
That's hopeful.
It's interesting to look at how technology has changed in our collective
Yep.
past. I can't remember. Dave Ramsay there, when were you at St. Joe's?
I think I went in and I was in Mike Donnelly's class.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you would have been like 2 years behind, graduated from high school in 64. I mean,
Right.
66.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I went one more year of college.
Oh, okay. All right. It occurred to me just these flashes in the past. I can remember back in the mid to late 50s, probably more on the late 50s side of things, where we were in the big space race, and the U.S. satellites kept blowing up on the launch pad, and after they had a successful one, I remember it was so visible. We would go out in the evening and watch it kind of from our front lawn, watch it kind of cruise over. That was our telecommunications system at the time. The other thing that had occurred to me in looking back at the history at St. Joe's, they didn't teach, there weren't any formal teaching classes in typing. At one point, I think in the 50s, there might have been 1 year where they had somebody actually teaching typing, but it didn't show up as part of the curriculum until, into the late 60s and early 70s. That kind of had me flash back to the recorder. I was officially named the typist for the recorder when I was a junior in high school. And I'm losing track. Stewart, what was his first name?
Harry Stewart.
Yeah, right. He was the editor of the paper, and there were a whole slew of us who cut out letters of the alphabet for the headlines.
Right. Yeah.
And we had to line them all up. There was a line across the bottom where you would know you had to line up your letters, your characters with that line, and use rubber cement to glue them down. And then he, as the editor, would come in and check the headlines and then take another wad of rubber cement and kind of go over the headlines and kind of gently remove all of the leftover cement from around each of the character spaces. And then the big scientific or technology breakthrough came, I think it was either when I was a junior or a senior in high school, that they got an IBM Selectric.
Yeah.
That was a major breakthrough.
Right.
When we had to do adjusting the typesetting on each line so that it was all justified. Before that, you would have to go in there and type it up and figure out how many empty spaces you had at the end of the line, and then go back and retype it and insert the correct number of spaces between each word so that it ended up, being a, what do they call that? Fully justified. And with the IBM Selectric, each letter had a different numerical value depending on how wide it was.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't solve immediately the problem of justifying typing, which it actually made it more difficult because you had a line that had characters like W that were extra wide, and you had to know exactly, looking at a line of what you had typed in, how many units that it had taken up and how many were actually left over at the end. And then you could go back and insert spaces between each letter so that it looked a lot nicer.
I was lucky with typing because my mother was a typing teacher.
Maybe your mother did.
When I was a little kid, she kind of, used me as a student. So she helped, but I kind of taught myself typing. But when you bring that up, I think that you were allowed, if you got to St. Henry's Hall, you could have a typewriter in your room. But I don't know if you could have electric typewriter or not. I don't remember one way.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
You could have a non-electric.
Right.
And the IBMs were kind of expensive anyways.
Right.
But everybody wanted to use the one, the recorder, because that was, with the.
So anyway, Terry Stewart appointed me I moved up from doing all of that rub down letter. This was before the rub down letters. This was like I said, the rubber cement letters. I moved up to be the typist. I didn't know how to type at that point. I was just amazed, like, why did you appoint me?
I thought you were the glue guy for the.
I was the glue guy, yeah. Oh, that was.
You were the glue of the whole paper. My gosh.
Right. So
you learned that pretty fast, didn't you?
I went to an office supply store on a break in Muskegon, and went down there and learned to type in 10 days. But the problem was I didn't have a typewriter. So when I got back to St. Joe's, I started, maybe it was people like Bill Gebhardt and people who had access keys to some of those back room areas. And there were quite a few old Royal typewriters that went back into the 20s and 30s, and they were just sitting around there. And so I ended up learning how to type, going in there with what was, behind the scenes at St. Joe's and doing my practice typing there. The thing is, I never got, and to this day, I still don't have any typing ability for numbers.
Neither do I.
So I had to get out and stop and pull out the the keyboard and that whole line of numbers in there. So it was just incredible the things
Yeah.
that how technologically unadvanced we were throughout our careers at St. Joe's. I don't know about if you, Dave, if they had introduced typing as part of the curriculum at that point, or
No, we didn't. We not. No typing for us.
it, I guess in the parish there was always somebody there who could type for you. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have that advantage. I have to tell you now. I'm really not boasting about this. I'm putting my son in his place, which is way above me. He was so bored with high school that he, with the encouragement of my wife, he talked the high school superintendent or principal, whatever she would be. She talked him into moving him into a typing class. And as I think this would be as a high school freshman, and maybe he was doing this in 8th grade, but I think it was, as a high school freshman, he was going to the Kalamazoo Math Science Center too, besides this. But he, in lieu of music or phys ed, and he had some issues with asthma, and so he got out of that by taking typing or keyboarding, and it was keyboarding. And by the time he was a high school sophomore, he was touch typing like mad, and he still types like that. No, he keyboards. His two daughters, who are now freshmen and juniors in college in the Virginia college systems, they are accomplished typists. It's amazing. He just runs his hands back and forth over the keyboard and hits what he wants. I mean, you guys who did languages in the military, you got the point that you didn't have to translate. You had worked long enough with it that it processed through your brain, and you just did it. That you would hear something, and you knew what it meant, and you could translate it if you had to. But and this is the way that our educated kids today function. There's a reason that
I can just ad lib right and type at the same time as what you said.
Yep.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, Paul, about the Army. I remember in the when I was going through the Army, and they were in the early part, and somehow I had to take a typing test, but that's pretty important in the sense that it could determine your your job. I mean, you weren't cannon foddered. You might end up, working in an office because you knew how to type and they didn't have to monkey around with you, being Beetle Bailey. So that kind of stuff. It was kind of interesting.
When I started teaching at the high school level in 1968, that was 2 years after the seminary here, I can remember that the so-called business education classes were all made up of girls.
Yeah.
And it was rare that
It's
there
true.
was a boy in those classes. So again, right on through, I was doing teaching until 1977. It was rarer that you would see a boy in any of those business educated classes. Now, when it had to have been in the late 70s when the personal computers were just starting to make themselves available. There was a computer language called BASIC, BASIC, and it was really simple. It was so simple that you could teach yourself how to do some programming, but you never knew whether you were doing it right until you got the results back
Oh,
from
you got
the computer.
feedback pretty good.
Right. I ended up going over to Marygrove College in Detroit, and they had a class in the basic language. So I signed up for that. And but I didn't have a computer. The personal computers were just coming on the scene right around that time. And at one point, I was running a program for retirees down at, I don't know if those guys who are from the Detroit area might remember the old YMCA, where it's right where Comerica Park is today. So we were headquartered in that building, and across Woodward from us was here's what a little date you, Radio Shack. How many remember Radio Shack?
I do.
I don't know what you're talking. Oh yeah.
They were selling computers at that point. They were.
You had to
Wow.
assemble them, I think. You had to assemble them yourself.
Yeah, and they were driven by tapes, audio, the little cassette tapes.
Yeah.
That's where the language was stored on those. So you had to be able to take those little cassettes out and put them in your personal computer. I still couldn't afford one yet. And it was, oh boy, my heart was broken. I almost had the money to buy one of those early ones, and then it just didn't work out. So, but I kept on kind of keeping track of that technology, and eventually, I remember now, it was 1978 to 80. I was working for an agency that helped in home health aides learn how to deal with people with developmental disabilities. And so we were housed in the old State of Michigan building down where Sixth and Howard. Again, those who are familiar with the Detroit area, Holy Trinity Church is right across, and that used to be the headquarters, the Michigan office headquarters. So we were down there, and we had this guy that I was working for. He was really fascinated by computers. So since he had a State of Michigan computer available, he decided he would try to store some of the data that we were compiling and then use that to print out reports. Boy, were we we had our heads in the clouds. But so we would, for months, we would go down there and we would enter some of these, some of this data, and you knew right away that your system wasn't working right when it came back with the results right away. It didn't even have a chance to go send it over to Wayne State University's big online computers that were just becoming a thing. And the longer it took for the computer to process our little simple request, you sort of said, we must have done something right in there. So that was 83 when that job came to an end. And then I went out to work at Brighton Hospital. And the head of that hospital over there hired me in to do fundraising and marketing for the hospital. Mm-hmm. And he knew that I had this interest in computers, using computers in like a small office operation. And so he bought 2 of the Radio Shack personal computers, one for him in his office and one for me. And so I sort of learned how to use the Radio Shack by using it to begin compiling and figuring out you still had to do a lot of work in figuring out how to process the data. It was one thing to input the stuff, but then you had to develop your own language or your own way of coming out with a result that made any kind of sense. So we started just putting in names and addresses of patients just so we would keep track of admissions from the hospital. And I still remember we moved into a separate office, and I would go in first thing in the morning and turn on the computer and wait around for about 10 minutes for it to turn on. This was 83. And then you get down to work. Then I got an IBM PC, the very first IBM PC. But no, it was a Compaq. Does anybody remember Compaq computers?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the name.
Yeah, they had a portable computer which weighed about 70 pounds, and it was in like this big, huge case that you had to drag around. That was how how portable it was. And I would take it out to little community get-togethers and demonstrate this technology and get people to stop by and try it out. Wow, look at what you can do with a computer. And then right around that same time, the use of computers and telephones started coming into being. I can remember going down to, at that time, it was Michigan Bell Telephone Company down in Detroit. And they were going to introduce this system where you could actually, now again, we're talking about 1984, 85, where you could actually see a broadcast of people talking in Washington and us in Detroit talking to these people live. Holy mackerel. But it had not reached the point yet where it was practical. There was no Zooms in those times. If you were lucky, you knew somebody, you knew where even the fax machine was located. One of the offices that I worked in, we didn't have a fax machine, but the congressional offices in at that time, the federal building, they had, it was old. I don't know if you remember the technology, and it was like they were wet kind of huge sheets of paper that were liquidy, and you had to dry them out before you could even cut them up.
What, mimeographs?
No, it wasn't a mimeograph. It was a telecommunication device. It was the first fax machines. So we would have to when we were tracking legislation in federal legislation. So I'd have to, when a new change was made in the law, I'd have to go over to at that time it wasn't Senator Levin. It was I can't even think of who the representative was that we were going. They would get a copy of the legislation from Washington faxed over to their office. I'd have to get out and walk a couple of blocks over to find their machine. And those things, when you got like a 50-page document, those things weighed a ton. So so that was I remember now, while I was at Brighton, because of my interest in technology, getting people in small outfits, like, only a handful of people working in the staff. That was my special. I kind of worked in that. That was me. I was the technology guy trying to figure out how to use all these things and how you could learn how to, a small operation with a limited budget, how you could actually use some of this great technology that was out there. And I remember fax machines. One of my jobs at it was the National Society of Fundraising Executives. So I was their information technology committee. And my job was to prepare a directory, a printed directory of members with their phone numbers and addresses and and all of a sudden we would get this information from people who had this thing called a fax in their offices somewhere. Now, me out at Brighton, we had a fax machine in the president's office, but it was a fax machine. So I could go over there and have somebody send me a fax that was just like a copy machine kind of fax. And then, so I said, well, why don't we start putting these fax numbers in our printed directory? And there were enough people to say, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So we started putting in fax machines on the numbers of fax machines. Now we're getting close to the mid to late 80s at that point. And somewhere along the line, I got an AOL account. And that was my first venture into online communication. We thought, now this is really cool. And one after another, like a couple of us guys were, I say guys because at that time the most of the people in fundraising and marketing were men. We started sending messages back and forth to each other by email. Oh my gosh, email? And so then we said, you know what? Why don't we include email addresses? Looks like more and more people are getting this thing called email. And so, yeah, okay, let's do that. And then we said, people are communicating in something called news groups. And so we said, let's try a news group for fundraisers in Detroit. And lo and behold, that was like, after that started up, we would send messages by email back and forth. It sort of skyrocketed at that point. More and more small to medium sized. Some of the bigger, like hospitals and universities, those people were lucky because they had email before the rest of the world did. And so we started this chat group for fundraisers in Michigan. And anybody who had a fax machine could or a email address could sign up and be part of this whole thing. They could get all of the messages that everybody was sending out back and forth. And so it was by around 1987, 88, when that whole technology just kind of took off. And we stopped actually printing out a printed directory, and we went online with an actual directory, an email directory of fundraisers. We were even far ahead of the national organization, which had not yet figured out how to put its members all over the country on or make use of email. So we're talking like late 80s, maybe early 90s, when that whole concept of everybody just, nowadays you just automatically know you're going to have an email address and you're going to be able to use that technology. So it was really kind of interesting. And then so I sort of figured out, you can use this online technology to kind of keep track of and look up people who were your donors or people who might be on your prospect list. And so I started developing a system whereby we could look at the old newspapers and to get biographies of people, and people were saying, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that?" At that time I was working for an agency that was specializing in helping retired or older unemployed workers find new jobs in the new economy. And that was around, gosh, I can't even remember, the late 80s. And at that time, they were teaching just about every man who came through that agency was encouraged to go to driving school and learn how to drive a truck. And the women were encouraged to, get some office skills. And a lot of these people, mostly at that time, mostly women, the new workplace was making use of electronic communications. And most of these, I would say almost to a person, they didn't have any idea what a computer was or how to turn the thing on. Now look back to our own experiences right about that time. It was probably the same for a lot of us, that it was out there, but we didn't have the foggiest idea of how to use it. And I was sort of there to sort of serve as the brains of getting this kind of technology out to people in the fundraising arena around Detroit. And so I would put on workshops. Eventually the organization was called Operation ABLE, and that stood for Ability Based on Lifelong Experience. And because the president of the organization, she was one of these people who was into technology, she got into expanding or introducing the curriculum of teaching people how to use a computer. And so, there was like one other guy in there who really had some technology experience. And so we sort of helped them set up classrooms for older adults to learn how to use computers.
Bill, let me ask you a question. This is to all of you. Do you ever think about when you were in the seminary, and I went more than 4 years, but at least 4 years, did you realize that you learned 13 years of language instruction, and that you learned with Latin and Greek and Spanish or French? Mm-hmm. Did you ever think about how that thinking had an influence on your understanding of how computers work, in the sense of the overall, I'll use the word philosophy, or the
mindset.
System. Did you ever think about that? Because the intricacies of declensions and changes and what they meant. Like, the incredible training that you had, preparation. There wasn't any place in the country that could give you that much, I believe, unless you went there. There are very few places. Did you ever think about that?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. Paul, go ahead.
I have so many thoughts, it's so not particularly organized, but Bill was very involved in a lot of stuff. And I would say kind of in advanced level for people with our background. The seminary prepared us to think like this. Those of us who had some degree of mathematics, in addition to language and language grammar, that just, they build on each other. And, that we were able to organize our thoughts better. And I'm going to digress here a little bit. I am going through an aging challenge transition, and I have no idea how this is all going to work out. But I have trouble remembering stuff. I have trouble remembering what I was just doing. That I will be working. I will be reading about something online, posting something back and through, and I say, "Oh, let me get out Google and ask, what does this mean?" To get a definition that I used to have straight in my head, but not thinking real clearly. And then, I've got that. Now, what was I doing that I stepped away from that to come do this? That's kind of the way my brain is working now. And and I find when my head is together and I'm a little bit more awake and not so tired, and look at something I'm puzzling over, and instead of trying to pull out what the answer was, like I could look at something and throw it together and say, "Oh, this is what I should be doing." And now, I can't do that so well. But then if I stop and take the time to sort of analyze what I'm struggling with and pulling some elements out of it and saying, so how did I used to go about this using a math equation or looking up something someplace? And I would, develop a somewhat applicable solution, but it's a challenge. And these, my son and his family, they're all over the place, and they've got, their comprehension, their alertness, is humbling. And I'm sure you experience the same thing.
It's really kind
Most
of
definitely, yes.
when
Yes.
you look at.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's like artificial intelligence sort of is jumping in, so that we collectively, somebody's always seems to be always there trying to figure out what it is that you're thinking. And you do use a Google now, and at least on mine, you get a little screen pops up. Well, artificial intelligence says this is probably what you meant by your question, and here's the answer. I mean, that's what my experience is. And when you look at what Pope Leo has just said about the use of artificial intelligence, it's like, yeah, it's like, holy mackerel. Machines that are actually taking over the thought process and decision making process is just kind of frightening when you think about it. It's like, remember 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Uh-huh.
Hal,
Hal.
and it kept saying, Dave, I don't think you want to do that.
Bill, rather. Two things. I want to comment with Paul first. Paul, if you watch this video, what you just answered was the first time that you've been lucid for a period of time in responding. That's just a reaction.
I appreciate that, and
it was really eloquent.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to get back to Bill in the something I thought maybe to bring up, but maybe for next time, and that is that I haven't read the encyclical. I want to talk about the Pope's encyclical, and that it's 52 pages. I'm downloading it now and trying to organize it. I haven't read it or anything. I don't know anything about it. But is it possible maybe for next time? I don't know how we can get this distributed or whatever. I have it on PDF. I got Bill's idea, when never mind.
Well, if you have a PDF file, why don't you email that to all of us?
I'll tell you what. I'll email it to Bill, and then he's got your addresses.
Okay.
And then we could use that
even smarter.
Go ahead. Sorry?
I said that's even smarter.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that I want to get it out, and maybe we can begin to talk about where you're...
Use your resources.
Okay, exactly. So thanks. But I don't know how the others feel, but I don't know what's the content of it, in the sense that, except it's about artificial intelligence, but in the general topic. But I'm anxious to see how it integrates I'll use the word Catholic way of thinking, theological thinking, into what we're talking about in a sense. And that, look at it this way, how we were educated in the seminary and what we would bring had we, as what we bring to the world based on that. This is going to be a big influence, because before we were influenced, you brought this up in a way, we were influenced to be Thomistic philosophers. And the thing that kind of brought it together was philosophy. A lot of us didn't get quite that far. But this is coming in a different direction because of the source of discovery, if you will. The one thing that I always thought, and never about the seminary, it's most insightful, that it had a science teacher whose name was Joseph G. Whiz. I thought that was the best. I kid you not. That's what his name was. But he taught physics and chemistry or whatever. But I don't know. I just offer that as an idea and how the others feel about it. I don't know anything about it. I'm working with AI kind of deeply, and it's a kind of a struggle.
There's a an online class that AARP is making available that is based apparently, and apparently it's intended for people who know little or nothing about artificial intelligence, and is that teaching with AI?
Yeah. Can you read that? The others? That's one of the books I have. And I'm looking at, what I'm also looking at is the how do you teach the humanities with AI? So,
when you think about it, so much of our collective education involved memory.
right.
Reciting what you had written or read somewhere, or learning your language by reciting it over and over and over again. And remember old Father Weisenkopf and his famous words, "Scribe censeo," write it 100 times. That was his penalty.
AI.
So anyway, what I was getting at was and I think the traditional way of learning stuff was just memorizing it.
Right.
And today that is not as critical a skill as it was when we were going to school.
Well, anytime. I mean, whether you were in the seminary or anywhere else, it's the same thing. However, the concentration on language, because there you're immediate, you have to be able, to make sure the endings that you're comprehensive
right.
and the endings all match. Then know the words. Also, it influences the tone you might want to communicate. A lot of sophisticated things that are in that. But think how lucky we were to have all that training. There aren't many people in the United States that have that much.
Just another footnote in there. Penmanship.
Yes.
I see announcements from the archives and I forget the other one, Smithsonian, which are looking for people who can understand handwriting because they don't teach it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the big 250th anniversary celebrations, those documents are all handwritten.
Right.
How in the hell is future generations going to really appreciate something if they can't read it? They don't have any idea what all that scribbling is about.
Monuensis.
I have a book for you, and this isn't an easy read, but for you philosophers, it probably isn't that difficult a read. It is called Genesis, as in the book of the Bible, Artificial Intelligence, Hope, and the Human Spirit. And it is co-authored by Henry Kissinger, Craig Mundy, who is part of, involved in, I don't remember which big, Amazon or one of those outfits, and Eric Schmidt, who is another one of these language or program developers that we use all the time. And the book is a good introduction to what AI is and what its potential is all over the place. And you come away from it with, and it demystifies a lot of what it is. It's just an assembly of all of the ideas that we have put out there on the web and anything that the web is connected to. And some of these algorithms that throw an idea out and see what matches with it, and then assess what feedback it gets. Well, it's about as focused as, what I said. And your judgment is probably as good as a specialist looking at that and saying, this is what it means, because they may be misinterpreting some stuff that as you look at it, say, oh, that's not what it means. I don't know what it means, but that's only a small picture of it.
Paul, could you send that to Bill? And then when he sends out the stuff, he could, the title and the authors, please.
Yep.
And then I think that would be the resource. And then the other one, watch Teaching with AI. I'll send that to you, Bill.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just happened to think of another government agency source of information that is looking for people who can read handwriting, the Census Bureau. And those documents that I've been able to find in my own research, a lot of that is so true that those are all handwritten items. All this the information about our history as a nation is in handwritten form. And even, me who knows penmanship, and I have a very hard time reading some of those census reports because they're just not legible, whether it's in handwritten or printed form. So that's another area where, the skills that we learned at that time in elementary school, there's a whole generation, couple of generations now, people who don't have a foggiest idea, what that means, what those documents actually are saying. So it's kind of like, trying to figure out the Bible if you don't really understand Latin or Greek. If you're fortunate enough to have any of those languages in your background, at least we have some general idea. If we ever had to go in and look at some of those, or even talk about the Mass, for crying out loud, it wasn't
right. I agree with you. That's the point, that you're kind of getting into, the core of everything, and that was the point of the whole curriculum. There was the Palmer method. Did you ever hear of
the Palmer method?
Did you ever hear the phrase amanuensis? Do you know what amanuensis was?
No.
Latin, from, manu, which is hand. That was somebody that would write love letters for somebody because they couldn't write. They were known as amanuensis.
File that in. I do well on Jeopardy.
Well, on Jeopardy, the guy that, what was his name? Lincoln or something. He was just on. My son's friend knows him. He said
really?
Tristan was his first name, Langdon or something. But he lives in New York. But he set the record. He blew the record off, Tristan. But somehow my son's friend knows him. So that's wild. There was a guy from the seminary, Frank Fallon,
Oh, yeah.
very bright, very, very bright. And he
Class
was
of
on,
1961.
he
Yeah.
was on college, what was that called?
College Bowl.
And he missed a question about the Latin or something on the show. I can't remember, but I remember he missed
The
it.
alpha privative.
Yep.
Pardon me?
The alpha privative.
Oh yeah, alpha privativa. That was it. That's the negator in Greek or Latin for none. Yeah, that you're right, Paul. He missed
I think
that.
he got it right, as I recall
No,
it.
he
because
didn't.
No, he missed
None of
it.
the other.
He missed it. He
He
missed
missed
it.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
That was
my
so
gosh.
surprising because Frank he was a genius. His sister was in my class. And, anyways, they were in our parish, but yeah, that was a good call, Paul. Alpha privativa.
That had a flashback for me. We used to watch that program on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
Before the.
And he was on with Catholic University.
Yeah, right. The before the dinner meal, when we were waiting in the.
That's a good teaching tool, actually.
Yeah. That and Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle was on
Yep.
Saturdays, I think. We were able to catch the Bullwinkle and Rocky show.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And then College Bowl, if we were lucky. And, so
That's
that
right, Yogi Bear.
And I know it was The Wide World of Sports. I can still remember watching that on Sundays.
Right.
The agony of the
Thrill of victory.
Thrill of victory and
Agony
the
of
agony of defeat. Jim McKay.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Anyway. Well, listen, guys, we got some things we're in June already, so what if we figure on sometime in August? A Wednesday in August? Hang on, I'm going to get my calendar up here, actually. Okay. I'm looking at the first Wednesday of August is the 5th, if we want to keep doing it on Wednesdays. Is there anything coming up in there that
I don't think I'll be in country. I might be in Ireland.
Okay.
Well, you can still join us.
Oh,
Yeah, if I find a TV set. It would be nice if we could zoom into the
just
Book of
need to
Kells.
find a computer.
Yeah. Well, I could get at the Book of Kells and I could, in Trinity College, and we could look at that, read the Bible.
Well, the rest of the month is pretty open for me, but actually Tuesday, I got nothing set so this is a chance to, of course, my wife has the official calendar, and there might be some things
The 4th is the election.
Oh, okay. Tuesday the 11th or Wednesday the 12th. How's that looking?
That should be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick with the Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'll circle that on my calendar here. Wednesday the 12th. And hopefully, a lot of times with the alumni updates that I send out, I just copy stuff from previous editions or issues and just try to update everything. And a lot of times, as we know, I don't always catch all of the updates that are needed. Oh, by the way, that last thing, Paul, you were the first one, and probably the only one that caught the fact that I had the wrong email address for replying to, and I couldn't figure out. That was one that I had just copied, but I didn't copy the whole address and just pasted it into the issue that I tried to send out. And so that's why I went back and I thought, can I make changes in it for the people who actually haven't read it yet? And you can't. So the only ones who got the correct email address, stjoememories@gmail.org, or whatever it is, are the ones who got the resend message. And that's probably a week to 10 days after I sent out the original one. If people haven't, I get a little message that says X number of opens. I'll check and see if how many people haven't read the message, and then I'll just send out a second email, and that's where I can correct stuff. So at any rate, so
that's Wednesday the 12th.
The 12th.
Right.
Yeah, the 12th, not the 11th. 12th.
Yeah.
August 12, 1-2.
Right.
At 6 o'clock?
7.
7. Okay.
Be there, be
All right.
square.
Be there or be square.
Yeah.
But where did that saying ever come from?
I don't know.
I think the army or something.
Yeah.
Well, Google it.
I heard
It
a lot
says-
of expressions, but I don't know if they can be repeated.
So some things you never forget.
What's the matter, you?
Yeah.
Who remembers what's the matter, you?
I have no idea. It's on my calendar.
That's where Bullwinkle went to school. What's the matter, you? Lord.
That's up on Mackinac Island, isn't it?
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, it's been good.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Learned a lot tonight.
Yeah.
Have a good first half of the summer.
Right.
Thank you very much to you all.
Okay.
Take care,
Be well,
guys.
guys. Be